or just looking for a better job, here are some insider tips from John Davidson at Ascendo Resources. John, it's great to have you here. Welcome to our show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, Ascendo Resources, you guys have been on the show before, but for people who don't know, tell us a little bit about what your company is all about.
Ascendo Resources is a full-service boutique recruiting firm specializing accounting, finance, banking, and operations placements in the Tri-County area.
And you guys are blowing up since the last time I saw you. Things have gotten much bigger.
Yeah, we've experienced 1,000% growth in the last 3 years. We have 70 employees servicing the market, and it's been an exciting time for our organization.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about finding a job in the summer. Some of our viewers either are looking for one or don't like the one they have or whatever, and I think a lot of people feel like summer is time to sort of slack and take time off, but summer can be a good time to get a job, right?
Summer can be an excellent time to find a new opportunity. What we would suggest to anybody who's looking for a new opportunity would be first working on your resume, making sure that it's fine-tuned, joining networking events that are taking place in the local market and maybe over abroad. And now with modern technology, with LinkedIn and other sources to connect with people, it's a great time in the summertime to start connecting with these people.
And also, companies have money set aside, right? Like companies that are planning on hiring in the fall. I mean, there's money to spend now to hire you, is that right?
Yeah, there is hiring depending on when the company's fiscal year ends. Some end in September, some end in December, but there is a time, and we see that there's a generally large push to hiring come beginning of the fall, but in the summer they're starting to do their ramp up.
Gotcha, and you should do your ramp up as well. And all right, you mentioned resume. This is off the top of my head because I know back in the day I've, tweaked my resume 7,000 times, like everybody watching. I was always taught one page. The resume has to be on one page. Is that true or not?
Well, if you have 20 years of experience, I don't know if a one-page resume is gonna service you what you're looking for.
Right.
My rule of thumb is be true to who you are. If you have 20 years of experience, put that on the resume. You don't want to go on to an interview and they're expecting somebody with a different level of experience or a different type of background and somebody else shows up.
Yeah.
So I always say be honest, put your right foot forward. In terms of how you should set up your resume, I always agree, or the rule of thumb working with a recruiting firm is we like a chronological resume opposed to a functional resume. Chronological resume will have your education, will have your dates of employment, and will run in order consecutively.
But on the top should be most recent, right?
Of course.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to start with your job as fry cook 25 years ago. No.
Unless you're applying for a fry cook position.
Right. In that case, use it. So, all right. So you've submitted the resume. They like you. They bring you in for the interview. Now the interview. Give me some pros. Give me some cons. Give me some tips on how to have a good interview.
Number one is research. Know where you're interviewing. It's 2014. There's a tremendous amount of information on where you're going to be interviewing and who you're going to be interviewing with. Do your research. Nothing ruins an interview with somebody that comes in that's unprepared. Being prepared for the interview. First impressions make everything. Be there on time. Make sure you have copies of your resume. And number one, simplest thing, thank the person who you're meeting with. You never know what's going on in the head of the person who's meeting with you. You want to get their attention towards you. And the simple thing of saying, hi, I'm John Davidson. I just wanted to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to interview. It makes you different from just a piece of paper. Now you're an individual.
Love it. All right, you're in the belly of the interview. You've done your research. Let's talk about what questions you can ask, because when you're on an interview, they're firing questions at you. What are some good questions that you should ask them? For example, do you talk about money at all in an interview?
I don't suggest that. I find that in today's world, people kind of get turned off by when people just ask about compensation. It's very competitive out there. You need to draw how you're interested in the opportunity and how your background relies on it. If you're working with a search firm, you're going to know what the compensation is.
Right.
If you're going on your own, well, that's when you need to do your research on knowing what the salary. So salary, benefits, and hours are always bad questions to ask on a first interview. Most important, you want to ask about the culture, the organization, and the day-to-day responsibilities.
And I'm guessing you probably want to position it in a way of what you can bring to the table. In other words, so I know that this is the position that's available. Should you bring sort of like independent thought, like I thought about it and here's something that I can do, or does nobody really care what you think?
Depending on the position that you're going for, if it's a transactional position, they're just going to ask you about your qualifications.
Right.
But if you're going for an executive level position or you're going for a management level position, you have to be able to make a correlation between what they're looking for and how your skill set's relevant. I kind of say, I'm married. My wife asks me loaded questions. If I answer them, I'm in trouble.
Right.
And that's the same way it should be on an interview. You should ask questions that are relevant to the position. And a good question always to ask is, why are they working at the organization? What drew them to the opportunity working there? And what changes have they seen in the organization as well?
Yeah. Just a couple more off the top of my head. What should you wear in an interview? More specifically, what should you not wear?
Well, you should wear that.
No, this is terrible.
No,
Yeah.
just teasing.
Too bad, 'cause I have a
in
job
certain
in it.
interviews, it really depends on the industry. I'm from New York and I'm conservative, so I always wear a suit and tie. And if you are working with a search firm, they are going to give you the advice on what you should be wearing for an interview. I always say dress to impress, but if you're going to a casual company, say an IT or an emerging company, they tend to be more casual, where professional services, banking, brokerage firms, financial services firms, they tend to be more conservative in suit and tie. Know your audience and know what you're interviewing. If you don't like wearing a suit and tie, well, then don't interview at a place that wears suits and ties.
Right. All right, social media. How important is it for our viewers to be very mindful of what they're posting on Facebook and Twitter when they go in for these interviews?
Extremely mindful.
Yep.
It's a modern day, and one of the first things that a lot of corporate recruiters and agency recruiters might do is check out your social media page. They're going to see what you're posting on Facebook. They're going to see what links that you're connected to. They're going to see what's involved. There is no way escaping it today. This is the modern world, and they're going to do research. So I would always advise people to be modest in terms of the pictures that they post, or it would be their profile pictures. If you use LinkedIn, it's going to be more geared to Facebook. If you have an open Facebook page, they're going to be able to see what you have on it.
Right.
And if it doesn't fit the core values of the organization, you're not going to get the interview or the job.
All right, so as we wrap up, give us the website or the phone number, how people can find you.
The best way to find us is at ascendoresources.com. You can find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are using all areas of social media to attract people to our organization.
And tell me why people should come to you.
We are the professionals. We are the leading recruiting firm in South Florida in terms of growth. We have more associates on the ground than any of our national competitors, and you have me,
the great John Davidson, all decked out. I need to go change my clothes, clearly, before part 2.
No, this is a great organization, and you work in this area, so it's much different.
It's good to see you. Have a great summer.
Thank you very much.
You got it.